My name is Alex. And I stopped believing in justice a long time ago. Because once, justice stayed silent. While someone didn't steal my wallet, but stole my life. I was never perfect. Didn't have a six-pack, or a big car, or a voice that silenced the room. But I had a heart. I had love. And most of all, I had a son. Luke. When he was born, I stood next to Lily's hospital bed, holding her hand, thinking. This is it. My entire life, in one tiny little body. From day one, I changed diapers, learned to make baby cereal, stayed up through the nights. I didn't run off to soccer games with friends, I sang lullabies. Didn't hit the bars, I bought wooden toys and built puzzles with him. We watched cartoons together, and I always laughed louder than he did. Because it was ours. Our real, pure happiness. And Lily. She always seemed genuine. She supported me when I changed jobs, laughed at our family jokes. I thought I had a team. A real one. Then she started coming home late. Smiling at her phone in ways she hadn't smiled at me in months. I asked, she brushed it off, changed the subject. I believed her, because I trusted her. Because I wanted to trust. That day, I came home early. Her favorite pizza was on the table. Luke was asleep in his room, tired but happy after daycare. And in the bedroom. Her laughter. Not mine. Not Luke's. I didn't yell. Didn't lose it. I just stood in the doorway and watched. And she looked me straight in the eyes. No guilt. Just cold. You don't belong here, she said. Leave before it gets worse. And I left. I took Luke, put him in the car, and drove to my friend's place. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because of the cheating. But because of one thought. How is this going to hurt my son? And the next morning, police. You're being accused of kidnapping your child. Your wife filed a report. I had to kneel on the pavement in front of a stranger with a badge. And explain that I'm a father. That I didn't take my son from a sidewalk. I pulled him out of hell. That I'm not a criminal, just a man who wants to hold his child. It wasn't enough. The court gave Lily temporary custody. I was removed. Me, the father who stayed through every meltdown, every, I'm tired. Every, I just need a break, every spa weekend. They gave me 2 supervised visits a week. In a center. Under watch. As if I were a threat. That first visit shattered me. Luke ran to me, hugged me so tight his cheek pressed into mine. And then he asked. Daddy, I missed you. Why can't we be at home? I had no words. How do you explain to a 4-year-old that his mother turned your heart into courtroom evidence? I walked out of that center, sat in my car. And cried. Really cried. No shame. No strength left. Then, silence. And from that silence, a voice rose. It didn't scream. It whispered. You don't get to quit. You're not just a man. You're a father. And you will crawl through fire if it means getting your son back. And I made myself a promise. If she made my son call me a stranger, I'll make sure she never hears the word mom from him again. The following weeks became a slow-motion assault on my nervous system. Not physical hits, emotional ones. I fell out of my own life, piece by piece. Not for her. For him. For the little boy with hazel eyes and dinosaur pajamas who waited for me every weekend, asking why we didn't play at home anymore. Every time I left the visitation center, my hands trembled. I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that I was now a visitor in my own fatherhood. That I had to be escorted by security. That every hug was under surveillance. Every look, every word, monitored. As if I were a threat. As if I hadn't spent years putting him to sleep with silly dinosaur lullabies. The first court decision went in her favor. Temporary custody, to her. Me. 2 short visits a week. Supervised. Everything boiled down to cold legal phrases. Stable environment, consistent routine, established care. Legal jargon that carved my heart open like a blade. The judge didn't care that this stability was built on betrayal, hypocrisy, and rehearsed tears. She cried in court. Played her part like a seasoned actress. I'm just so worried about Luke's safety. Alex has become unstable. Aggressive. He yelled at me in front of our son. Lies. I never yelled. I never raised a hand. But her voice sounded so confident. Too confident. Because she'd practiced. At home. In front of a mirror. I knew her. No one cared that behind this concerned mother act was a woman who once told her friend on a video call, "I can't stand that little brat anymore. I need wine or weed just to cope." But the judge needs to see I'm the perfect mom. It wasn't just the friend who heard it. My private investigator recorded it. I sold my car. Pawned everything I could. Even my vinyl collection I'd been curating since college. All to pay one of the top private investigators in the state. He became my eyes in the dark. People told me, "You're wasting money. This won't change anything." But I wasn't losing money. I had already lost my son. Weeks turned into months. Photos. Audio. Screenshots. Videos of her leaving Luke with loud, unqualified babysitters while she vanished for hours. Her friends' comments at parties. "Oh, your kid free tonight? Finally some peace. Your new guy is hot. How are you still pretending to be super mom?" But the most painful part was Luke's words. I wrote them down after every visit. "Daddy, she yelled at me because I mentioned the zoo. She said everything with you was fake. She yells at me when she thinks I can't hear. She says I look like you, and that it's bad. Mom says you don't love me. Is that why you left?" Mom cried, then laughed. She said all men are trash, even her own son if he grows up like you. Those words hurt more than any court order. I saw my son starting to doubt me. Not because I failed him. But because his mind was being poisoned. Drop by drop. She wasn't just taking him away from me. She was breaking the part of him that still loved me. I filed a new motion. Gathered every piece of evidence, in order. Psychologist reports where Luke drew pictures, mom screaming, dad holding hands. Testimonies from his daycare teachers about his sudden change in behavior since living with her. My lawyer looked over the case and said, "She's boxed herself in. And we're going to slam that box shut. But be ready. It's going to get brutal. She won't go down easy." I looked him in the eye and replied, "I've already walked through hell. She hasn't seen anything yet. This wasn't the end. This was my first real move in a game of chess where the king was my son. I wasn't just a father anymore. I was a soldier. A general. And this war was just beginning." The world changes the moment you realize that the law doesn't care about truth. It only cares about proof. And if you don't hand it proof, you lose. Even if truth runs through your veins like fire. I stopped being just a father hoping for weekend visits. I became a hunter. A wolf. A detective in my own case. I started digging. Deep. Dirty. Painful. Everything about her past became a target. Her job, her social media, her old friends, even the ones she hadn't spoken to in years. I reached out. I texted. I called. I offered anonymity. And truth lived in the memories of others. One of her college friends told me how Lily used to manipulate professors, fake mental health crises, and even lied about pregnancies just to extort money from guys. I wasn't shocked. But it wasn't enough. I hired a cybersecurity expert. Someone who could recover deleted messages, old backups, buried cloud files. It was expensive. But every discovery was a goldmine. In one backup, there was an audio file. Lily talking to a friend, admitting she had fabricated accusations against me. That it was all just to gain full control of Luke. She laughed as she said it. Like it was a joke. But it wasn't a joke. It was a grenade. My lawyer heard it and simply whispered. This could change everything. I gathered photos of her drinking at parties during times she claimed to be home with our son. Videos of her handing Luke off to random nannies while disappearing for hours. Even our neighbor offered up footage from his security camera. Lily screaming at Luke on the front porch, yanking his arm. But the most powerful piece of evidence was still ahead. I met with Mark, her ex. Turns out, I wasn't the first. Lily had another child with him. She used the same playbook: lies, manipulation, emotional blackmail. He gave up custody, not because he didn't care, but because he believed he'd never win in court. He cried when I told him my story. I was scared of her, Alex. I was scared she'd destroy me. I didn't just lose my son. I lost myself. If you can stop her, do it. I'll give you everything I have. He handed over text threads, emails, even a recorded video chat where she told him, "I'll do to you what I did to Alex. You're not on my level. I always win." Now, I didn't just have evidence. I had a pattern. A system of manipulation. A strategy she'd used before. Proof of intent. My lawyer prepared the legal strike. I prepared myself for the storm. I had dreams, nightmares, of her standing in court, smiling. And then her smile cracking when the audio played. I dreamed of Luke running into my arms in an empty schoolyard. His voice whispering, "Daddy, did we win?" I couldn't afford to lose. Not this time. And I was ready for the final battle. This day wasn't like the others. I put on a suit I'd been saving for special occasions. Ironic, right? A special occasion, the day I'd walk into court and destroy the mother of my child. Not physically. Worse. I would expose her. Let the world see who she really was. The courtroom was cold. The air heavy, like right before a storm. Lily sat across the room, confident, smiling, makeup perfect. In her mind, she'd already won. She thought I was still the broken man who once sobbed in the courthouse hallway. But this time, I was someone else. My lawyer started simple. "We are submitting new evidence. An audio file." They played the recording. Lily's voice. Recognizable. Cold. "Let him choke on that kid. I told the judge he's insane, she'll believe it. I've done this before." Silence. Then whispers. The judge looked up. Lily turned pale. Her attorney leaned in, whispering rapidly. She stared at the screen like she'd seen a ghost. "Next," my lawyer said, "is a video recording, submitted by the neighbor." The screen lit up. Lily, yanking Luke by the arm. He's crying. Struggling. From off-camera, a passerby shouts, "Hey, are you okay?" The judge stopped the footage. "That's enough. Continue." Then the real storm began. We called our first witness. Luke's former preschool teacher. He became afraid of female voices. Flinched whenever someone with long hair approached. We even used play therapy to try to understand. He drew his mom as a black cloud with wings. He wrote, "She doesn't love me." The judge scribbled notes. Lily bit her lip. Next, her former friend. And she shocked the room. I couldn't stay silent anymore. I saw her leave Luke alone behind locked doors while she brought in different men. One of them accidentally walked into Luke's room. He was crying. I ran in, and Lily slapped him and told him to shut up. The judge's head snapped up. "Can you verify that?" "Yes. I recorded it. I was scared then. But I saved it." They played it. Luke crying. A man's voice. Lily screaming. "Shut your mouth or you'll get it worse." Then came Mark. She threatened me if I ever told anyone she drank during the pregnancy. But I saw it. She didn't want a baby. She wanted control. I took the stand. No drama. No tears. Just calm. "My name is Alex. I'm a father. And I'm not perfect. But I was everything to my son. And I lost that, not because of something I did, but because of her lies. Her betrayal. Her obsession with control. Her pathological hatred for anything that doesn't serve her. I read excerpts from Luke's journal. Talked about the conversations. The fear. The phrases that haunt me at night. Don't you love me, Daddy? Mom says you left us. I showed photos. Luke, before and after. His smile, gone. His eyes, empty. Just like mine were, when I almost broke. The room was silent. Even the guard in the corner swallowed hard. A woman in the audience started crying. Then my lawyer dropped the final blow. Miss Lily, in these messages, you say you want to use your son to force Alex out of the apartment. Is that true? That's out of context. And what about this line? Let him kill himself. Then the house is mine forever. Is that out of context too? Lily covered her face with her hands. The judge left for deliberation. 10 minutes. 20. 40. Silence in the courtroom. When he returned, he spoke without hesitation. After reviewing the evidence, full custody of Luke is granted to the father. The mother is limited to supervised visitation. A mandatory psychological evaluation will follow. This court also refers the case to the district attorney's office for further investigation into abuse and emotional harm. Court is adjourned. I don't remember standing. Or walking out. But I remember Luke waiting in the hallway with the social worker. He saw me. And ran. Daddy. Did we win? Yes, son. We won. Behind us, by the door, stood Lily. Mascara smeared. Eyes hollow. For the first time, she wasn't a queen. Wasn't an actress. She was nothing but the shadow of someone who thought she had won the game. But this wasn't a game. This was fatherhood. And I had won. Forever. It's been 2 months. Luke sleeps peacefully in his room. Surrounded by new toys, fresh drawings on the walls. And the same old dragon pajamas. Every night, I kiss his forehead. And he no longer flinches. He no longer asks. Do you still love me? Because now, he knows. Lily hasn't shown up. Her attorney said she's undergoing psychiatric evaluation. Whether that's true, I don't know. And honestly, I no longer care. Sometimes I dream about her eyes. In the moment the judge read the verdict. Empty. Broken. Not because she lost her son. But because she lost control. Control over me. Over the system she used to bend to her will. I could feel pity. But I don't. She killed slowly, with words, with threats, with lies. She broke a child. And I gathered the pieces. With blood. With pain. With rage. But I did it. People say. Don't seek revenge, life will handle it. That's a lie. Sometimes life is blind, deaf, and cruel. If you don't stand up, it buries you. I'm no hero. I'm a father. And I did what had to be done. Maybe one day, Luke will ask me, Dad, what happened to Mom? And I'll tell him the truth. Calmly. She chose a path where there was no place for you. And I chose the one where you would always come first. We'll never fear the dark again. Because now, we've walked through it. And we're still standing.